555 Jacksonville.
Second down, 13. The 45 of Baltimore. Brunell back in the pocket. Has a bit of time now being chased. Plants throws. He's looking downfield. He's got a receiver. And it is caught. Jimmy Smith at the 5. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Jacksonville. He beats Dwayne Starks for 45 yards.
Barks out for signals. Drops to throw. Has time. Fires the slant. Jimmy's got it this time. 35, 30. Middle of the field. 20. He's going to the 20-yard line. He's going to score. 10, 5. Jimmy Smith. Touchdown. And the Jaguars are right back in this ball game. Barks out the signals. Pressure coming. Steps up. Steps. Turns. Throws. He's got Jimmy. First down, 20. There he goes. 10, 5. Touchdown. Win. Jacksonville. Done under pressure. Steps to avoid. Turns and throws. He's got him in. Caught Jimmy. Inside the 40-yard line to the 37 and down to the 36.
Congratulations to Jimmy Smith. That is now his 800th career reception, and what a play to get it on.
This team winning right now, it helps bring so much attention to our franchise, what we did back in the day, like we were talking about, these Hall of Fame conversations. But when we're winning, we see the conversations pick up. So we have noticed that. So obviously, I'm pulling for my team to get to this Super Bowl.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Mike DeRocco, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome into Jaguars Today, the swan song for one Mike DeRocco for the 2024 NFL season. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, D-Rock, and Dylan Denmark here with you. Good morning, Tone.
Good morning.
Have things changed in the last 24 hours that you would notice for Jacksonville Jaguar fandom?
Not that I've noticed.
Not that I've noticed either. Nobody's calmed down a whole lot. Although there's probably some of that will naturally occur the further we get away from the Monday press conferences. But we will see. Mike DeRocco, how are things?
Well, great. How are things with you?
All right.
Tony? Dylan?
It's all right.
Appreciate Dylan Denmark buying us breakfast.
Talking about bulky, dog.
Last week of the year. It's all about bulky. Thank you, Dylan, for breakfast today.
Yes, sir.
Tony,
You're
congratulations.
welcome.
Breakfast Bowl champion, 3 years running.
Thank you very much.
We should retire it right now. I should have taken Bryce
You are
Young
the Patrick Mahomes.
in Week 18. He really is. Well, Mahomes hasn't done it 3 years in a row.
He will this year.
You think so, huh?
Yes.
All right.
I do.
All the drama out of you don't have to watch, folks. Mike
Not
DeRocco
really. No, not at all.
Declared. I don't know. I feel like this is a great year to get him, but we'll see if
Could be.
anyone's able to do it.
I did see this morning that the two teams with the worst the points differential in the playoffs this year are head-to-head in the wild card round. And the Los Angeles Chargers, who I think are minus 35 when they've played playoff teams this year, and the Houston Texans are the worst in the league at minus 66.
Wow, that's
when they
a lot.
play a playoff team, but they are the two worst of the teams that are in the playoffs.
Wonder who people in Jacksonville are rooting for.
Well, I mean, everyone's picking the Chargers. I was going to do today, which AFC underdog has the best chance to win, then tomorrow do which NFC underdog, but everyone would pick the Chargers.
Yeah.
And most people would probably pick, I guess the Rams are technically the underdog, right?
I haven't looked at the lines.
Well, really, the Chargers aren't the underdog. They're the road team. I said that improperly. But nobody in Jacksonville is rooting for nor picking the Texans. I don't believe.
I'm stunned, shocked, and surprised.
Anyway, so D-Rock, we'll get to what's on today's plate coming up, an abbreviated version with you because Trevor Lawrence is going to speak and his, season wrap-up press conference. Typically, players are available on Monday. Is it league rule that the quarterback has to be available or that everybody has to be available?
Yeah, it's media policy with the league is, they have to have an open locker room on the Monday. And it's just a generally accepted thing that the quarterback talks.
Generally, right.
Yeah. And he was unavailable on the Monday, so they're doing it today.
Right, because he just had a baby, or his wife just had a baby. You understand. But,
All right.
I don't think that's an improper phrasing, but, they welcomed a baby into the family. But now he's going to get questions based on what went down in that Monday press conference. Clean up on aisle Trevor over here. Trevor, here's the mop. And what do you make of what Shad Khan and Trent Baalke had to say on Monday? There's going to be a lot of that, I would imagine, today.
Yeah. Is the offense predictable? Did you have any input in Doug's firing when Shad Khan says he meets with players all the time? do you have a preference on who the head coach is? Were you hoping to have some more input into the decision that hiring a new coach, where Shad says this is not going to be Aaron Rodgers 2.0? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to get to and unpack.
But, I hear that. I almost heard that comment differently.
I heard it as he'll have some input, but he isn't going to be driving the bus.
Right.
Like Aaron
he's
Rodgers.
not also that he's not Aaron Rodgers. Trevor Lawrence is not the kind of guy that's going to demand,
correct,
this is what I want, ABC. I thought it was almost more in a way of protecting Trevor, because it was asked about, like, do you go and you ask Trevor Lawrence's opinion on this? And let's say he did, and Trevor Lawrence said, hey, I'd be good with the whole new set of eyes and ears here. I don't know. I'm just, hypothetically, right? And I almost felt like Shad Khan, by saying, well, this is not an Aaron Rodgers 2.0, is like saying, no matter what Trevor said, don't hang this on him. That's how I heard it.
And he said multiple times that this is his decision.
Right.
This will be his decision. He will.
And it is his decision.
Right. It's not going to be a collaborative thing. It's going to be, this is the guy I want to hire to coach my football team.
All right. So how would you gauge your reaction to the news that they kept Baalke and fired Peterson?
Not surprised. I keep telling people I'm not surprised by anything they do. I would be disingenuous if I said that shocked me, because it did not. I think
it didn't shock me, but it was a little surprising.
Can you explain it?
Well, I don't have to explain it, because I don't. For whatever reason, okay, and I mean that reason remains, in Shad's head. For whatever reason, he clearly trusts Trent Baalke. Now, whether you like that or you don't, and you think that's wrong or you think it's ludicrous, whatever you want to think, it's all irrelevant, because Shad Khan clearly trusts him. And that is all that matters, because he's the one making that decision. So when people ask me, why did he keep Baalke? He clearly trusts Baalke, or he at least values Trent Baalke's opinion on what he should do and what he's done in terms of putting together this roster.
A lot of people took Shad's comments about, getting input from coaching candidates about the front office and things like that. And the way I heard his answer, I think, is different than the way a lot of people heard it. I know a lot of people are hanging on to the hope that Ben Johnson or somebody's going to come in and say, I won't work with Trent Baalke, and Shad is going to say, all right, well, you're the guy I want, so Trent's out the door, right? When he started talking about it and explaining his answer, he was talking about the restructuring and the way we do things. In other words, it was more like, to me, about roles and responsibilities, not who's filling those roles necessarily. How did you hear that? And what do you think is the likelihood? And Ben Johnson is reportedly going to interview, or do a preliminary interview on Friday. Zoom interview, which is all you can do this week if you're Ben Johnson, with the Jags on Friday. So he's not refusing to talk to the team. It's not a non-starter, the situation it is right now. But first of all, it's going to be a weird dynamic, right? Is it going to be Shad Khan and Trent Baalke talking to him? And how do you go, hey, by the way, can we go private here on Zoom for a minute?
That's what happened last time.
In regards to
22, I mean, they were all together in there.
No, that's what I mean, right? But what an awkward circumstance if you really want an honest answer from a head coaching candidate who doesn't have the job and may covet the ability to work with Trevor Lawrence, or the opportunity, right? But, you haven't been a head coach in this league. Are you comfortable coming in and throwing your weight around and deciding who that GM is going to be? I don't know. Maybe you are if you have options.
Well, yeah, if you're Ben Johnson and you're the hottest coaching candidate out there, you want to go to a situation that's going to be the best for you. And if you don't think that working with Trent Baalke is going to lead you to the success you believe you're going to have, or it's going to be an impediment to the success you believe you're going to have, then you would throw your weight around.
All right, so let's say he does.
If he truly wants this job.
Okay, yes. Let's say he does. Let's say he wants a job, tries to throw his weight around. What do you think Shad Khan's reaction to that is?
Thanks, but no thanks. I honestly, look, I'm not in Shad Khan's head. I do know that if you got in the Shad Khan is not like there was a ton of public pressure to fire Balky before. And he was like, nope, I'm doing what I want to do. It's my team. No one's telling me what to do. There was even more pressure this time for a clean sweep, fire Doug Peterson, fire Trent Balky. And he was, I'm doing what I want to do. It's my team. No, Shad Khan is not going to let anybody tell him what to do. That's my feeling. I get the sense from just being around him, the interviews that we've done with him. He's a very successful businessman. You don't get to be that rich without being really successful in business. And in business, it's kind of ruthless. It's kind of cutthroat. I can just see, now maybe I'm wrong, but I can just see Shad being like, you're not telling me how to run my football team. You want, sort of like Spurrier when he was recruiting. We want you to come here. We want you to play here. I don't know. Don't come then. We'll beat you with whoever we do sign instead. That kind of thing. I can see him being like, this is my football team. I will not be pressured to make any decision.
Difference was Spurrier had a track record and got results. I mean, Shad Khan's got a track record too, and they're bad results.
Well,
I understand.
I'm not saying
I understand it's his team. I tell people that all the time. Like, you can try to apply pressure. It doesn't mean he's going to answer to it whatsoever.
Right. But again, this is my feeling, my gut feeling on that. I might be wrong, and he may go, geez, we got to get Ben Johnson. If he blows him out of the water in the interview, maybe. But again, I just kind of feel like Shad Khan has been pretty consistent in the way he sort of acted about stuff like that. Like I said, there was pressure to get rid of Balky. No. Pressure again. No. No one's going to tell me what to do. It's kind of what I get a sense.
We have a general sense of how we think Ben Johnson feels about the GM here in Jacksonville and whether or not he'd be willing to work for him. It's all conjecture to some degree at this point. Do we have any idea how he feels about the GMs of the other three teams he's agreed to interview with the Raiders, the Patriots, and the Bears? Does he feel much better about any of those situations than he does Jacksonville?
I don't know. It's a really good question. But I think if you're Ben Johnson and you're the guy that everybody wants, you can afford to be ridiculously picky. Sure. Like, he could have taken the Commander's job last year. Didn't like it. Didn't like the setup. Didn't feel like it was going to be great for him. Didn't take it. You kind of get the sense that, you know what, this Lions team's this offense is going to roll for a while. You know what I mean? Some of those guys are pretty young. Jared Goff's getting up there, but Jared Goff can still play pretty well. That offensive line's really good. So barring a catastrophic slate of injuries next year, they're going to put up the same kind of numbers this year or next year that they put up this year. So if he just doesn't get a sense that everything's in place for me to succeed here, then maybe he decides to wait another year. Whether it's here, whether it's any of the other teams or whatever. Look, Trevor Lawrence will be here next year, okay? Drake May, and we'll be here for 3 or 4 or 5 years. Drake May is going to be around for 3 or 4 or 5 years. So Caleb Williams is going to be around in Chicago for 3 or 4 or 5 years. So if they decide to make a move, stuff doesn't work out or whatever, and Ben Johnson's content to sit where he is in Detroit for another 2 or 3 years, roll that offense, and then when jobs come open again, maybe he decides, okay, this time it's a little bit better situation.
Maybe,
or he takes another job next year. Who knows?
Right. I don't know Ben Johnson from Adam, right?
I don't either.
And he did it last year, so that's not to say he couldn't do it again, but maybe he also felt like, this isn't the perfect situation. It was that one job he was really connected with. It seems like there's a broader bunch to choose from. And granted, the Patriots just fired Gerard Mayo after 1 year, but if you're going to sit there and think that they're going to do it again, hired another guy, and then next year Ben Johnson will have a chance to coach Drake May. Like, if he wants to coach Drake May, it would seem like now's the opportunity to get in. I'm just using that as an example,
absolutely.
Obviously.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, so let's hold that thought for a second here. Let's throw out today's question of the day, which almost was a binary question. But we figured let's be fair to the defensive side of the ball. So we asked you, which of these traits is more important for the Jaguars to prioritize in their next head coaching hire? We're going to go with basically offensive prowess, ability to fix the offense, work with Trevor, whatever. Think of Ben Johnson, that type of guy, right? So that an offensive wizard, or that quote-unquote leader of men category. And then we thought, you know what? Why don't we be fair to the defensive guys as well and just put defensive prowess in there? It's not like the Jaguars' defense was any good this year, so you got to fix that as well. So those are your options. Offensive prowess, defensive prowess, leader of men. Not that you can't be more than one of these things, but what is the top trait that you'd like to see the Jaguars prioritize? I don't know if it would be much closer if we made it a two-option poll, because right now it's 49% leader of men, 47% offensive prowess, and defensive prowess is picking up the few stragglers right there. We've got yesterday's poll. I tallied up the results on it. We asked for your top three candidates to kind of give you a sense of at least the people that took the time to respond with their options, how they're feeling about the candidates whose names have been mentioned, and any other reasonable person out there. If you want to get in today and talk Jaguar football in all its many forms, 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. Particularly if you got a question for D-Rock, take advantage while he's here before he needs to leave and go talk to Trevor Lawrence for his season wrap-up press conference coming up at 11:15 this morning. Hop on board now, 641-1010, also on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can get in the YouTube virtual studio chat that way or hit us up on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, at ESPN Duraco, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
All right, we're off and rolling. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. 1010XL. One game. 1010XL.
And we shut them down because we can.
1010XL.
This is your time.
1010XL.
Open enrollment is here, so it's time to secure health coverage for your family. Whether you need Affordable Care Act plans, dental, or Medicare, visit one of the Florida Blue pop-up enrollment tents near you. They make the process easy and stress-free with medical and dental insurance you can count on. Plus, listen to this. Based on eligibility, many people pay absolutely nothing for coverage. Find the perfect Florida Blue plan for your family at the Aaron Group in Orange Park near the intersection of College Drive and 220. Here's a reminder for Florida Blue members. You can access Sanitas Medical Center with 3 locations around town offering primary care, walk-in services, an on-site pharmacy, and mental health support. 3 Sanitas Medical Centers, combined with Florida Blue coverage and expert service you'll get from the Aaron Group in Orange Park, will make you feel like a winner in Northeast Florida insurance coverage.
Coke Florida congratulates the Jacksonville Jaguars on a great 2024 season. As the local Coca-Cola bottler celebrating 10 years of business, Coke Florida is proud to be the Jags' official beverage partner. From the season kickoff to the final touchdown, Coke Florida's 5,000 associates and passionate fans have cheered on the Jags all season long. Coke Florida and the Jags tackle game day with great taste.
Jaguars Today Thursday is towed by Cannons of Jacksonville for all your towing needs.
Tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters? You're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. Let's face it, your neighbor Steve still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but incredibly functional for me and Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com and take advantage of their 40% off New Year savings this month only, including 18-month special financing. Closets by Design.
These are interesting economic times. That's why it's so important to have someone you can count on. That's ITP Partners. Jacksonville folks taking care of our Jacksonville money. Experience? You best believe you want to give your hard-earned money to folks you trust. Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Reed Wingate, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reagan Wright have the expertise and knowledge to help clients in their financial lives, focusing on investment management, financial planning, and risk management. ITP Partners, financial partners for life. Securities offered through American Portfolios Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC.
We could call them helmets and cleats, but they don't wear cleats.
Those shoes are hot.
Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
From the First Coast Lighting Studios at 1010XL.
Weekdays noon to 2.
You think you could join us?
Imagine a place where the sun is always shining, the drinks are ice cold, and the food is bursting with flavor. Welcome to Hurricane Grill and Wings, where locals and visitors alike gather to weather this storm we call life. And you can escape there anytime you like. Today's forecast, hot, crispy wings with a 100% chance of frothy beers. Later, we're predicting big burgers and seafood tacos moving in. Even better with a Pepsi. HurricaneWings.com.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
The Jacksonville Icemen are back home this Friday and Saturday for Lizard Kings weekend. The Icemen throw it back to the 90s and pay tribute to the Lizard Kings by wearing special themed jerseys and a Lizard King bobblehead giveaway for the first 1,000 fans for Saturday's game. So relive your days from the Reptilian Pavilion, Friday and Saturday at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Game time 7 o'clock. Tickets at Ticketmaster, JacksIceman.com, or call 904-602-POP. Iceman Hockey is #Frozen Frenzy.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $2,600 per ounce. Pay bills. Buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Get off the ladder and put on the helmet with Gutter Helmet of North Florida. We are family owned and manufactured locally. Cleaning your gutters is a dangerous and dirty job. That's why with Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. Water goes in your gutters while trash and debris go on the ground. It won't collect like filters do. Gutter Helmet protects. Call now for 10% off and a free gutter cleaning and tune-up with your purchase of Gutter Helmet. Call 904-762-7779.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Mike DeRocco is powered by Lickety Split AC, Plumbing and Electric on 1010XL.
All right, let me just quickly give you a synopsis of what went down with our question yesterday. We asked, who are your top 3 candidates? You could go with the 8 that the Jags had reached out to. You could add reasonable ones. I was trying to avoid people going like Bill Belichick or whatever, because, you know, it's not going to be realistic this cycle. I'm not saying that nobody's going to reach out to him, but he's not coming to coach the Jaguars. So we got 75 responses that adhered. Some people said Ben Johnson, Ben Johnson, Ben Johnson. Didn't include that. All right. So I broke it down by first, second, and third place votes out of the 75 who fit the criteria. And if you gave more than 3, I took the first 3 you listed, and I took them in the order you listed them. So that's how I did it. And is it scientific? No. But it's what we got for today. So out of 75 responses, Ben Johnson was on 69 ballots, which was nice. Somebody had to say it. 50 first-place votes for Ben Johnson. Far and away the top choice. That's 2/3 of the votes went to him. He had 10 second-place and 4 third-place votes, and only 6 people left him off their ballot
entirely. Like the Heisman voting here.
Kind of.
Love it.
Aaron Glenn was on 45 ballots, second highest. He had 10 first-place votes, which was easily the second most in that category. Liam Cohen got on 44 ballots, only had 1 first-place vote, but he was the second choice of 32 different people who submitted their response. which is double what Aaron Glenn was in terms of second place options. Other notable things, Mike Vrabel was mentioned 5 times. 4 of them were first place votes. So he had one third place vote for Vrabel. Robert Saleh also had 4 first place votes. Joe Brady had 3. Others included Liam Cohen, Todd Monken. Patrick Graham got a lone vote. It was for number 1 choice, Raiders defensive coordinator. Davis Webb got a first place vote. He is the Broncos quarterbacks coach right now. And Ken Dillingham, the Arizona State head coach, got a third place.
That was
mention.
from Prisco. Prisco submitted that.
It was
ballot.
not from Prisco.
Yes,
He doesn't want it. No, he does not want him to leave Arizona State. I guarantee you that.
That is true. Yes.
He would prioritize that over him coming to Jacksonville. So just thought it was, interesting. It's the names. Joe Brady on 25 ballots, Robert Saleh on 19 ballots, Todd Monken on 13, everybody else in the single digits after that. So completely unscientific, but I thought since we asked yesterday, we'd tally it up and see where things stand. And the clear preference right now for Ben Johnson, and again, doesn't mean he'll be the best hire in this cycle. Even on this list, who knows? Jags, man, I've seen plenty of, it's Ben Johnson or bust, or it's Ben Johnson or Liam Cohen, or I'm not jagging anymore.
Okay. I don't believe that at all.
I look, for some, I can't speak for people, but I just hope they hire a guy that gets them turned around, honestly. It doesn't have to be the guy I prefer if it turns out to be the right guy, right? And that's their job to figure out who that is. D-Rock, let's get some calls in while we've got you here in this hour on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. David in Green Cove Springs going to lead us off today. Good morning, David.
Hey, guys. I got a quick comment, and then I got a question for D-Rock. So my comment is, I think everybody needs to calm down, because if we remember when Shad was looking for a coach when he hired Urban, he was looking for the best that he could find to bring us a championship. Now, that didn't work out, but he was willing to go so far that he was willing to build new facilities to make it happen. So I think that he's going to do whatever it takes, including moving Balky out if that's what the request is, to get Ben. So I see no reason why we're not going to get him. But my question that I wanted D-Rock to ask Trevor is, D-Rock, if you get a question, ask him when he saw his GM on the field wearing a whistle around his neck, did he find that strange? Thanks a lot.
I appreciate that. Absolutely. I've got a list of about 15 questions we got to get to that we're going to, before we will get to that one. But yeah, that was interesting, different.
I'll say this about the first point, right? Like, it's no one was saying, hey, Shad, don't build a facility, right? Like there wasn't this big anti-facility movement. And then Urban Meyer came in and said, hey, you need to upgrade your facilities. And he goes, I'm going to change my previous anti-facility stance here and build one, right? It was like, oh, okay, this is something we can add to what we already have, and it makes sense, and it's an investment, and it will hopefully pay off in the long run. This is a case where plenty of people were saying, don't keep Balky. He went against the grain anyway, and if he hears one more, don't keep Balky. Does that change his mind? Maybe it does. I don't know what Shad Khan's going to react to, how adamantly any of these candidates say any of these things, even if they do say them. But I think we're talking about apples and oranges here.
Yeah, I think we've had so many frustrations here in the last couple of days that we haven't even been able to get to the full list of things that have been said or done this week that frustrate. I was very frustrated when Shad Khan was asked the other day about goals for the team going forward, and he wouldn't say the word Super Bowl. Like, I was mad when he did it. Like, in the moment, I was like, what are you doing? We got to get back to the playoffs. Are you just Balky speaking to me about job security right now? What is this happening from an owner of an NFL team that he gets asked that softball a question? What's the goals going forward? We got to make the playoffs. What?
I didn't take it that way. I took it as, obviously, if you make the playoffs, you want to, I guess. You're winning the you want to win the Super Bowl. That's sort of like understood. But after a year like this, the immediate goal for next year is playoffs.
Right, and he's talking about year after year after year being in that. And I get
but
that.
I understand what you're saying, though. I understand that.
I felt like Trent Baalke was answering for his own job security. That's what that felt like
get
in the
out of
moment
here.
to me. Right? Like, I couldn't believe
Here he comes.
Is that a Mets jacket? Oh.
It's a news jacket.
I don't know what that is. Anyway, Dan Hicken visiting the studio right here because he forgot something. I took that more as like for me, I always said, give me one championship for my team and let me suck the other 9 years instead of going to the playoffs for 10 years and not winning it, right? But from an owner's perspective, you want the fan base engaged year after year. You keep going to the playoffs, and granted, after a certain period of time, like I'm even now hearing, hey, is Mike Tomlin safe in Pittsburgh if he loses in the first round for the 5th straight year? After a certain period of time, you get tired of a certain level of success. That would get
snatched up quick.
But from an owner's perspective, they'll take consistently competitive over that one great year almost every single time, because then your fan base is engaged every year. At least I think that. So
and I think
I wasn't offended by that.
The thinking too is if we're in it 10 straight years, we'll catch lightning in a bottle one year. Still be a couple upsets, and the next thing you know, you're in the Super Bowl.
Right. Dean on the South Side, you're up next here on Jaguars Today. Go ahead, Dean.
Yeah, great hearing from Mike. Just wanted to see Sean Conn was saying about the Jags being predictable. I mean, part of the problem is, do you think it's a culture problem down there, or it's a schematic problem? I think it's a culture problem, though. As far as procurement of players, and it's been consistent over the years in 2 different administrations. As far as being the way the NFL is set up, though, you have the draft where you're supposed to get the majority of your players and then fill the holes with free agency. It just seems to me the Jags have just missed on so many premium players, though, through the years, though, and other teams seem to get it done, though. To the NFL, though. What's your thoughts on that, Mike, as far as schematic versus a cultural problem down there at Everbank Stadium?
I wouldn't say culture. I'll say identity, because I think there's a good culture in there. That from the standpoint of players work hard. There's no infighting. There's none of that finger pointing type of stuff. I think identity is the word. Maybe that's a better thing there, because what are they? You know what the Ravens are. Yeah, no matter, as long as John Harbaugh is there, they're going to be a team that smacks you in the mouth on offensive side and defensive side of the ball, and they're going to run the crap out of it. Okay? What are the Chargers going to be with Jim Harbaugh? Same thing. You know what I mean? We know what the Steelers are. They have an identity, and they draft and sign guys to fit that identity. That being said, I think it's a talent issue. As schematic I don't know. Look, if you had this same team that was running out there the last 7 weeks with Mac Jones and Brian Thomas Jr. and Parker Washington and Brenton Strange and Liam Cohen or Ben Johnson were calling plays, would they put up the same kind of numbers with that offensive line as well? No, not at all. I think a lot of it is a talent issue, and they have to get better at a bunch of spots, offensively and defensively, and then your schematic stuff comes in. But first, get better before you worry about fixing the schematics.
So are you more than leader of men, more important than offensive prowess for the next head coach's hire?
Because the leader of men helps you establish your identity. And, how much input does that leader of men have on as well? So I think, we were talking off air that, like, Dan Campbell, he ain't calling offensive or defensive plays, but he clearly sets the tone and the identity of that franchise.
He did call them in 2021. But it does have an identity, okay?
Right.
But it also has a crazy amount of skill talent run by a guy who's very good running the schematics of it. Antonio Pierce is a big leader of men type. Gerard Mayo, big leader of men type. They're both unemployed today because they didn't get the proficiency out of the run. Now,
they also didn't have a lot of talent on either one of those rosters.
But he had Drake May, at least, and
wide receivers that were
I understand,
terrible.
But, did they maximize what they had? I don't know.
I don't know that either.
But
I'm not an X's and O's guy. I will freely admit that. But I do believe that you have to have really good players to be really good.
Of course.
And this franchise doesn't have enough of them.
It's not an either or. It's
Correct.
just which is more important.
What if I'm prioritizing, I want the talent.
All right, we got to take a time out here, getting behind. Stay on the line. We'll get back to your calls on the other side with Mike DeRocco while he's available to us at 641-1010 on the Garber Automall phone lines. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Hey, folks, it's beautiful outside right now. A little bit cool, but you can enjoy all that beautiful northeast Florida weather by looking out through your living room, through your Pella windows and doors. That's right. Pella windows and doors are installed all throughout my house, replaced all my windows and my sliding glass door just a few years back. Went with the best. At least that's what Consumer Reports told me. And guess what? My experience backs that up. You can stop by the Pella showroom and find out for yourself. They're right there on Phillips Highway with a full set of professional design consultants to guide you through your entire project, or check them out online at PellaJacks.com.
AC replacement? If your AC unit is ready to go kaput, then it's time to call Florida Home AC. With over $3,000 in tax credits waiting for you on select systems, take advantage of it. Call 777-4300. Get Florida Home AC to cool you off.
Jaguars Today, Thursday, is brought to you by
Cannons of Jacksonville.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When mice and rats show up in your home or business, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast, before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents and will keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a rodent problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online just like I did. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
Start your week with a Hall of Fame breakfast.
Well, I'm hungry. How about you?
Join Dan Hicken, Jeff Prosser, and Jags Hall of Famer Tony Bazzelli for tons of football talk. Brought to you by Heritage Roofing of North Florida. Monday mornings at 7:20 on 1010XL.
American Electrical, Northeast Florida's highest-rated electricians, is hiring, and they're training people for careers. It's not just job training. They're giving you a license that no one can take away from you, training you for jobs that are always in demand, and will offer you a peace of mind financially and for the future. And once you know a trade, you'll always be employable. All the details are at American-Electrical.com. If you're selected to be part of the Electrical Academy, you'll learn the electrical trade absolutely free of charge. American Electrical, powered by professionalism, equal opportunity employer.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. Are you tired of wrestling with your old shower curtain? Then say goodbye to the curtain chaos and hello to a new frameless shower enclosure. Wago Glass is clear, classy, and won't stick to you like a toddler at bedtime. Plus, it makes your bathroom look bigger and brighter. Upgrade your shower experience and step into style. Call me at Baker Glass and get ready to love your new glass shower enclosure. Baker Glass, no one treats you better.
Denny Thompson here for Tyson Sound and Security. Transform your home into the ultimate entertainment hub. Whether you're hosting the big game inside or out on the patio, Tyson's top-tier surround sound systems will make you feel like you're at the stadium. Enjoy crystal clear sound and breathtaking visuals, all seamlessly installed by Tyson's experts. Get ready for game day and every day after. Visit our new showroom on US 17. Call 762-1000 or go to TysonSoundSecurity.com. Tyson, your home theater and security pros.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the chairman of Underwoods. With Christmas behind us and 2025 here, the last thing you want to hear is somebody trying to sell you something. That's why at Underwoods, we'd like to just stop and say thank you to all the people that came in our stores over the last year. Whether you bought from us or not, we want to thank you for coming by and giving us the chance to help. You know, in North Florida, there are a lot of people trying to sell you jewelry. But at Underwoods, we consider it an honor for somebody to come in and just give us that chance to help. And if we do a good job, we might get a chance to serve again. Having served North Florida since 1928, all of us here understand what a customer really gives us during that visit to Underwoods, their trust. And it's up to us to do everything we can to keep it. So on behalf of everybody on the Underwood team, thanks again for coming into our stores. And we wish each of you a happy new year.
Rev up your life with luxury at Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard. Right now, used car prices are 12% lower than their peak in April of 2022, making this the perfect time to drive home in a dream car. Specializing in luxury used vehicles, offering you elegance at prices that are finally coming back down to earth. See special listings in the newspaper every Saturday or online at vaughnmotorgroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
As the Jaguars conduct their search for the team's next head coach, owner Shad Khan indicated for the right man, everything is on the table, including restructuring.
You want to do it. It's a legit effort to get better than everything, should be on the table.
Former Jag and NFL reporter Bucky Brooks attributes Doug Peterson's termination to not holding up the team's performance on offense.
The offensive ineptitude is really what did him in. Ultimately, that falls on the head coach, and it falls on the head coach who's an offensive-minded guy for not getting that production up to par.
For tight end Evan Ingram, regardless of the coach, it's about the player's performance.
Like I said, that's tough to answer right now. I know from a player standpoint, there's a lot of things that we got to be better at.
At your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguar Update, I'm Sam Nelson.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Mike DeRocco is powered by Lickety Split AC, Plumbing and Electric on 1010XL.
All right, D-Rock, take you into the ballet. What are your big off-season plans? What do you like? What's the next month look like for you now that the Jags are
coach duty?
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Dealing with that, going down, going to handle the Pro Bowl, help out on the Pro Bowl, and then there's not as much in terms of writing anything about the team other than the coaching search and all that other stuff. And then into February, I'll be going to the Combine for a couple of days, and that's pretty much
those are the major events in the near term. All right, D-Rock, this is his last day with us for now. We'll celebrate your triumphant return in the fall when you bring us all breakfast as the overall loser of the Breakfast Bowl.
Yeah. That was my idea too, by the way.
Yeah, it was good. Good idea. It was a good idea.
Yeah. I was in last place when I came up with that idea too, by the way. So that's fine.
All right, let's try to roll through these calls, particularly because they might have questions for you, Michael. James in St. Augustine. Thanks for hanging on, James. You're up next. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. Everybody keeps talking about the Balky thing. We already have exhausted that. We already understand that. Is there any detriment to taking the job, the fact that we are probably going to be on the road for the next 2 years, at least partially, and then the London thing, before you get established? Until we have the new stadium, and I'm a season ticket holder, I'm very excited about it, but is that a detriment to...
I got you. It's a fair question.
I think it could cause some reticence on some, coach's part, prospective head coach's part. But
it's only one season.
Yeah, just 27 is the only season you're going to be on the road, and that sucks 100%. You're here in 26. It's just going to be max 40,000-ish in the stadium there. So, the London games aren't going away. I mean, that is That is never going away. So if a coach has an issue with that, then he probably shouldn't come here.
Right. We can't speak. I mean, it's possible.
That is not going away. It's in the lease that they can play those London games, and they're going to play the London games.
Yep.
So if the 27 season is probably the one that may make people go, whoa, but then you go, well, the Taj Mahal is opening the year after.
Right.
So.
Right. Good question, James. Fair one. Appreciate it. Greg on the north side up next. Go ahead, Greg.
Thanks for taking my call, Mike.
Sure.
I just had a quick comment and then a question for Mike. And this is just my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. But in my opinion, the Jags need a coach with a little bit of fire. Many times, not every time, a team will take on the personality of their coach. For example, Harbaugh. Peterson, very nice guy, but doesn't have much fire, man. He's just kind of lackadaisical, and I think the team took on that personality. So, in my opinion, we need a coach, someone like not necessarily Vrabel, but someone with that kind of attitude and a little bit of fire to him. I just wanted to...
All right, you're breaking up a little. I think we got the point, though.
Yeah.
And that fits squarely in the leader of men category, right? That's more leader of men is more about the aura, the attitude, the atmosphere you create, right? You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Like Dan Campbell is a tight ends coach, or was a tight ends coach coming up by trade. He did call offensive plays back in 21 when Anthony Lynn was fired. That doesn't mean you think of him and go, oh, offensive minded guy. You think of him as tone setter. Right, and
the guy who's going to bite a kneecap or whatever.
So what about that? Like, and I don't think, by the way, that like Andy Reid is Andy Reid some guy that's screaming and yelling on every other snap. He doesn't strike me as that. I'm sure he can get on somebody's ass if he needs to.
No, but he's got a reputation that when Andy tells you need to do this, you need to do that. Right?
Sure,
there's not a whole lot of questions asked, and that is a reputation that you earn.
And
but
it
you don't
has
have
to be genuine. It has to be genuine. Like if Ben Johnson is not that guy and he comes in and tries to be that guy, then the players will see through it immediately.
Sean McVay may be a great leader of men. He's known as an offensive genius, right? I mean, that's why Sean McVay got the job at the age of 30 or 31 with the Rams.
Right.
And that's why people aspire to hire people off of his offensive coaching tree, right? And we've seen that in recent years, including Liam Cohen, and is one that has had some connection there. Kevin O'Connell had great success this year, and so far it looks like a great hire 3 years ago by the Vikings. So I think it can go either way. But what about, do they need like Aaron Glenn seems to me to be that type of personality a little bit more than from what I've seen from Ben Johnson. Does this Jaguar roster need a little kick in the tail?
Yeah, look, I thought Doug Peterson was the perfect guy to come in 22 after Urban Meyer, because Urban Meyer was up and down. You never knew what you were getting out of Urban Meyer from the player standpoint. What they loved about Doug Peterson was he was even all the time. You knew what you were going to get from him every single moment of every single day. And look, did anyone have a problem with Doug Peterson's attitude and lack of fieriness in 22 when they made the postseason? Probably not. But I understand what he's saying. As long as it's genuine, it just has to be genuine. If it's not who that guy is all the time, then when you stand up in front of those guys and you fake it, they're going to see right through it, and there goes the whole leader of men thing right out the door.
For another example, Sean Payton, right? I think of him as an offensive guru.
Right.
I'm not saying he can't get up in front of a room and command the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, like, to me, Sean Payton's value is taking a young quarterback in Bo Nix and squeezing the best performance out of that guy, you know? And
yeah, he could be a little testy, though. But
I'm sure he can.
If he is that way all the time, fantastic.
Right. No one's saying it's one or the other completely. But what is the leading edge? And I think of Sean Payton in that category as offensive guru. For instance. So, like,
done a hell of a job with Knicks, yeah.
I think it's easier to be seen as the, quote, leader of men when you're the defensive guy anyway, because the defense is, you want that rough and tough attitude and take on, the personality of the coach. And, the Lions can play smash mouth, but sometimes they're a finesse offense as well, right? And that's Dan Campbell's not a finesse guy whatsoever. And you got to have some finesse. You're not just going to grind out 3 yards in a cloud of dust on the coach's willpower, right? So, all right, let's get one more in here while we've got you, D-Rock, and then we'll take more calls in hour number 2. But Mike's got to roll so he can talk to Trevor Lawrence here in a few minutes. Darren, go ahead. You're up next.
Hey, guys. You know how 2 years goes by. Yesterday, we was watching video that popped up from the Titans game that night on that Saturday night. Just, oh, my God, what a euphoric atmosphere down at the bank. God, how I miss that. That was just so incredible to watch that, some of the video we did. But, D-Rock, my question for you is, you know, all of these players that Trent picked, I would have cleaned house, okay, but he didn't. So all these players that he's picked, okay, they were going to be picked by another NFL team, and typically somewhere close by because we watched the board as the draft is going on. I mean, Evan Ingram was was picked in the first round, but he was considered a bust basically in New York. He's now a better player here. That's all on coaching. So I do agree with getting a new coach in here. So how can a new coach come in and get something out of these guys that we have already? Because they're obviously NFL talent. And I'll hang up and listen, guys.
Yeah, some of it is schematics, like you said, absolutely. But it's also these guys are pretty talented, okay? Like Ingram's really good. Talented guy. Kirk's a pretty talented guy. I think Travis Etienne's a pretty talented guy. Tank Bigsby as well. They're not elite talent at this point. Maybe Trevor gets there at one point. I don't know. But I'm just looking offensively. Defensively, you know, we can have another conversation. But those guys sometimes have to be used correctly in the right scheme. And I think what Doug Peterson's scheme did for Kirk and for Evan Ingram in 22 was fantastic. But if you look at what are the things they did, like they've kind of gone away from some of the stuff they did there. Like not as much crossing, not as much crossing routes, not as much, you know, pre-snap motion as they used in the past, not as much motion at the snap that they used in the past. So there is some schematic issues too. And yeah, those guys were going to be picked in the end, but that doesn't mean that they're elite players. I think the elite. I guess what I'm trying to get is you need the elite players, and some guys thrive in situations here that they don't thrive in over there. Maybe they feel better about the place they're in. Maybe they've rededicated themselves to another training routine. Maybe they just respond to this assistant coach a little bit better. Maybe this coach recognizes that they do X much better than the other coach did, and they're only going to get them to do X. You know, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Look at Sam Darnold, right? Raw talent. Nobody denied he had raw talent, right? Got in a bad situation because anytime you get drafted high by the Jets as a quarterback, it's a bad situation. Honestly. I mean, track record-wise, right? He got under Kyle Shanahan, got some coaching there, and got with Kevin O'Connell this year, and all of a sudden you're seeing the guy that people thought, oh, yeah, he's a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. So I got to believe some of it's his own maturation, but I got to believe that Kevin O'Connell has put Sam Darnold in a lot of good situations. And yes, he has Justin Jefferson.
I was going to say, he's got some better players around him. Right.
Right. But, I mean, the season he had is far and above anything that he's ever shown in the National Football League. And I got to believe some of that is the direct result of coaching. But Case Keenum did the same
thing one year. And when Minnesota, right? And had a great year. Yeah. And had him in the playoffs. And then went back to being Case Keenum. Like, I've watched 2 entire Minnesota Vikings games this year, and they have yet to score a touchdown in either game. So Sam Darnold remembered that he was, in fact, Sam Darnold in the 2 games that I watched.
Right, but my point would be that if with a lesser offensive coaching staff, he might have shown you that in 14 games.
Correct,
instead
absolutely.
Of 2, you know?
Right. You're right.
And by the way, even the good ones have stinkers. On occasion, right? All right, D-Rock, we got to get you out of here. You kept just going and going and going, and we want to hear what you have to say. Go ask Trevor a bunch of hard questions, and have a great offseason. I'm sure we'll be keeping in touch.
Absolutely, and at some point, I'm going to get your rear end back out on the golf course, right?
Some point. Maybe. We'll see. Eventually. I don't know. All right, Mike DeRocco of ESPN out the door here in moments. Tony and I will be back along with Dylan. If you're on the line, you can stay right there. We'll get right back into your calls on the other side. Just trying to reshape the future of your Jacksonville Jaguars on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss, recently celebrating their 10-year anniversary. I'm on about my 2-year anniversary, roughly, with Awaken 180, and have had tremendous success. Like everyone I know who's tried the program, you're going to lose weight. You're going to lose it rapidly, a bunch of weight in that first week, and then 4 to 5 pounds consistently every week after. It's not a bunch of lose weight, quick gadgets, fad diets, medications, none of that stuff. You're just going to learn how to turn your body into a fat-burning machine. You're going to eat to lose weight. Kick your metabolism into gear, and on you go. When the pounds start falling off, you'll see the results with Awaken 180. And once you hit your goal weight, it's free support for life. It's the backbone of their program. 10 years later, 23,000 clients have lost a combined 750,000 pounds. Gotten a lot healthier along the way. Feel better, look better, get all those compliments and all that stuff. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Check them out online. Schedule a free consultation at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Big moment.
Play-by-play is full of plot twists.
Did that just happen?
And high-octane drama.
And this game is tied.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island is excited to announce an all-new happy hour, 7 days a week. You heard right. Every day from 3 until 6 p.m. and again from 9 until close. Barley and Pie has deals you can't resist. 2-for-1 clay lights, 2-for-1 house wines, and much more. Experience the all-new happy hour at Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island.
It's New Year's resolution time, like fixing that leaky faucet, unclogging that drain, or getting your AC ready for the summer. Start the year off right with Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Call us today at 904-862-6769. Because when you're stuck, call the Duck.
You're locked into Jaguars Today Thursday with Cannons of Jacksonville.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out.
Oh, Downy in the rinse shade.
Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Joe C. for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite Roofing Contractor, lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingjax.com.
Happy New Year, sports fans. Hicken here, and let's keep the skincare talk going while we ring in the new year. We know it's winter, a little cold outside. That sun is still shining, so let's always be reminded to take care of our skin. Beaches Dermatology now has a new location open in Fernandina. So if you live just a little north of Duval, you can now see the pros at Beaches Dermatology without having to make the drive to Jax. Go online to beachesdermatology.com to book your skincare appointment today. That's beachesdermatology.com.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
Start your Saturday with a whiff of the great outdoors.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lagerman, and we bring you the fresh air of the great outdoors.
On the Nimnit Outdoors Show, presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning on 1010XL, WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach, WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Start your new year off healthy and get screened at Ackerman Cancer Center with on-site imaging, including whole-body MRI, PET and CT scans, and mammography. Early detection is key. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Open enrollment is here, so it's time to secure health coverage for your family. Whether you need Affordable Care Act plans, dental, or Medicare, contact Florida First Insurance Group on University Boulevard, an award-winning Florida Blue agency well known for providing superior service. Theo Mitchelson and his team at Florida First make the process easy and stress-free with medical and dental insurance you can count on. Plus, listen to this. Based on eligibility, many people pay absolutely nothing for coverage. Contact Theo Mitchelson and the Florida First Insurance Group today and let your health be their priority. And a reminder for Florida Blue members, visit Sanitas Medical Center with 3 locations in town offering primary care, walk-in services, and on-site pharmacy and mental health support. SANITAS Medical Center, Florida First Insurance Group, and Sanitas Medical Center, a winning team in Northeast Florida.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Here's your 1010XL local sports update, sponsored by USA Park Airport Parking. Florida State traveled to Coral Gables on Wednesday night and got the win over Miami. FSU got their first road game win of this season entering the night. The Seminoles continue to dominate the series, winning the last 13 of 14. The JU Dolphins are on the road this evening to take on Bellarmine. It's the first of 2 on the road. Head coach Jordan Dempsey laid down what he expects from his team.
It starts with our practices. We have to be super aggressive. We have to understand what we're going to do, and we have to string together a couple wins.
JU and the Knights will tip off at 6:30. You can hear the game live on 1010XL AM. The Jacksonville Icemen early in the first period got a natural hat trick that downed the Greenville Swamp Rabbits on Wednesday night in the East Coast Hockey League at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. That's your 1010XL local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
At 10:59, it's 43 degrees. Time at 10, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler, Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Tony, you think my last comment came over Dylan's hot mic? I'm hoping no.
I don't think so.
I didn't yell it, so I didn't realize he was about to.
It's hot, but not that hot.
No. I don't know, man. You're sitting in front of it. It's probably practically melting over there. By the way, what's the latest news with the Denmark on the dating front? Any prospects? What's going on? No.
Man, I don't do nothing on the weekend, dog. I just be chilling.
Ladies and guys who have sisters.
Guys who have sisters.
I don't know. I'm trying to help you out, man. Trying to help you out. You know, like I should just leave you alone.
Yeah,
you know what?
Yeah.
And back in my day when I was a producer, if the host tried to set me up, it would not have gone over well. So I guess I should move along. All right. We've got some calls on the line that have been waiting patiently, so let's get to them. Chris is checking in all the way from Seattle. Chris, good morning.
What's up, boys? Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I wanted to start a discourse around a coaching candidate that I've heard nobody mention.
Okay.
John Gruden. I lived in Tampa when I watched him take Tony Dungy's team to the Super Bowl and win it. I think Trevor is the most talented quarterback that he would have underneath his wing since he had Rich Gannon in Oakland. And I haven't heard anybody mention it, and I think it's worth some conversation. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, I'm not. Me personally, it's just way too messy with John Gruden. Everything between him and the league and the whole. I don't know, Tone. I have actually had a few people mention it to me on social media that and nobody voted for him in this latest go round. What do you think?
I don't have a whole lot of interest in the
I don't
Gruden
either.
thing. I think all the complications with all the whatever's going on between him and the league, it doesn't mean that it hadn't been resolved. It sounds like that, to whatever degree it can be resolved, has been resolved. So I don't think the NFL would necessarily look to be getting in the way of Gruden if he wants to get back into the coaching world. Like, I just don't think I want to add even the potential for that kind of drama to whatever's going on with the current Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he's a pretty good offensive coach, right? And I don't think he's going to take any job less than head coach anywhere he's going to go.
Of course.
So I think I would love John Gruden maybe as an offensive coordinator. I don't know that I would need him in control of a whole bunch more than that at this point in his career.
I mean, look, I wouldn't dismiss it, I guess, out of hand, but it just feels like I want a fresh start.
Sure.
I mean, now Gruden, he did win a Super Bowl, and as Chris pointed out, he won it with basically Tony Dungy's team that he had assembled, but Tony Dungy didn't win it with that team, so you give him some credit, and he was red hot at that period. When he came over from Oakland, he had led the Raiders to consecutive first-place finishes in the AFC West, took over the Bucs in 2002, and won the Super Bowl, finished first again in 2005 and 2007 in the division. The last 4 years, as he resigned with a 3-2 record in 2021, he was 4-12, 7-9, 8-8. And again,
the Bucs gave up 2 first-round picks to get John Gruden.
They did, and it paid off. It was worth it because they won the Super Bowl. Had they not, you look at hindsight and go, wow, you gave up 2 first-round picks to move off Tony Dungy.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and $8 million.
Wow. We certainly wouldn't have to give that up.
That's
this time
worth
around.
a Super Bowl, but it's a lot.
Look, there are probably other reasonable candidates that you could put together. It seems like the Jags have their group, although Brian Flores, I guess, added to that group, right?
Yes,
yesterday wasn't on the original list of 8 names out there. So, is it possible they're casting as wide as net as possible? Gruden's name has resurfaced more like as a speculative name. Will he
get back
into the interview process at least this cycle and get back on the radar? There is a funny, sometimes you get that guy that comes out of the blue and people get hired. Sometimes guys need to be in the kind of the process for a year or two. Gruden's been through all the interviews. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he wouldn't interview well. You would think it would be old hat to him from that standpoint. But I don't know. I just feel like I want a fresher start. I'd like that. Me personally, I'd like that young, bright offensive mind. And Gruden is what is he, 61 years old right now? He's not ancient by any means. So I don't, I'm not an ageist. I'm not saying he couldn't get the job done at the age of 61. Somebody actually voted for Pete Carroll in our poll yesterday, got a 3rd place vote. So Pete Carroll a lot older than John Gruden.
Yeah.
At this point in time.
And definitely wants to get back into it. We know that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's more just the whole, and let's not forget, like, the root of what got him in trouble with the league was some pretty nasty stuff going on behind the scenes. You want to talk about, people think Balky is a manipulator and always angling to come out on top. I feel like maybe he'd meet his match in Gruden, but I feel like that would be kind of the setup. Like, if things weren't going well, who is angling to land on their feet more so than the other guy? I don't know. That may be the case with anybody when you have a GM who's already in place and a new guy comes in, and the GM's not going to have, and we'll see. At the moment, he's not going to have as much laying out in front of him on his contract as the new head coach. The new head coach is going to come in, get a 4-year, 5-year deal, whatever he gets.
Mm-hmm.
And as of the moment, and I confirmed this with D-Rock, I think off the air this morning, Balky is on the last year of his deal coming up. Shad Khan, when asked, are you going to give Trent Baalke a contract extension, said, well, it's irrelevant. I don't know how that's irrelevant, and but so be it. There is a little bit of mystery. I know Hick was talking about this yesterday. It feels like there's something up, with the possibility that maybe there will be a reshuffle. I'm not trying to put words in Dan Hickens' mouth here. He can speak for himself on that. But in terms of the how willing is Shad Khan to take input from a coaching candidate in terms of the structure of the front office? And we hear the report from Tony Pauline yesterday, who said that he's hearing in league circles that Baalke may lead the head coaching search and then kind of transition into another role within the organization, which would it be a step back? Would it be just doing a more streamlined job? And in that scenario, though, I feel like, Tone, that Ethan Waugh ends up the general manager here, right? I don't
certainly could,
and he's a chip off the Balky block, and I don't know if that would if Trent Baalke. It would probably make people somewhat happier if Trent Baalke were to take on the pro personnel director, which he was at one point, I believe, for the Jags, and Ethan Waugh is elevated to GM. I think people would just feel like he is Baalke 2.0.
Yeah, like there's no real difference being made in the organization.
And that's not fair to Ethan Waugh necessarily, right?
No, we'll see what kind of job he does if he's given the opportunity and how different. Like that is one of those situations where if they succeed, it's like finally Baalke's gone. That's why they're successful. And if they fail, it's because Baalke's still controlling everything.
Pulling the strings.
Like, there's no winning necessarily in that situation. And I know we talked about it during the break earlier today, but I think it's a legit question. I haven't heard Ben Johnson talking about, I want this guy as the GM that's going to be coming with me wherever I'm going. Like when he's talking about alignment, it seems like he's talking about, is it a line that I'm walking into, right? Not this is what I need it to look like for it to be aligned in my mind. That's not what I hear, at least on the Ben Johnson conversation. And I don't know that any of the other coaching candidates we're talking about during this round of candidates talking to Jacksonville have that in their heads either. And it's all the same guys everyone's going to be talking to. Right? It's not like any of these guys are attached to, here's the front office I'm bringing with me, would like to bring with me. So if any of these places are not aligned the way Ben Johnson would want them to be aligned, I do think it's legit that he could go back to Detroit for another year and wait for another offseason. I think it's a gamble. If you're going to be in this kind of cycle a couple of times, that doesn't mean the third time's going to pop up for you. Right? Like these things, they come quick and they go quick. I don't know how many opportunities, if you really want to be a head coach in the NFL, I don't know how many cycles you can go through where you're being talked about as the guy that people want, the way that Ben Johnson's being talked about right now, and you can still say, no, I'm more comfortable with the situation in Detroit. I'm not saying you can't make a really good living as an offensive coordinator in the NFL and do it for a long time, but if head coach is something that's the direction you want to go in your career, at some point you got to be willing to jump.
My sense is that Ben Johnson could get away with it one more time.
That's my sense too.
Because Detroit is so loaded that it's going to be hard for me to envision them taking a massive step backwards offensively next year.
Sure.
And I think that would be what would need to happen to precipitate teams going enough is enough. Now, you do it a third time, and what are we wasting our time for with Ben Johnson, right? Like, I'm not going to beg Ben Johnson. There are other fish in the sea. So that's my sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
By the way, somebody on text line said, Emil O'Brien saying Baalke has 2 years left. So obviously there's some
I do not know.
disagreement or confusion on that. I was under the impression that he was through this year. I think Hayes, somebody said that he has 2 years left on the deal. Mia apparently saying he has 2 years left on the deal. I tried looking it up, and it's not the easiest thing to find.
No, those things aren't generally announced.
No. Trent Baalke was hired. They don't usually tell you the length of the deal when they get hired.
Why don't they ever say how much money they make either, even for like coaches?
Because they don't have to.
Right. I mean, if there weren't a salary cap, they wouldn't tell you what the players are getting probably.
Yeah. It only affects the next player. That's why they tell you that information. And it makes sense. That can be public, should be public. What the coaches and GMs are making, no, they don't ever.
Right, but I agree. Like, why shouldn't it be? Right? Like, the players get it all the time about, like, oh, you're not worth this. You're stealing money. Well, plenty of coaches have stolen money over the years, too. Now, in college, when you work for a state university, they've got to make that publicly known. But, that's, again, like Tony said, that's probably the answer. They don't have to do it. They're not going to tell you much of anything. I saw NFL regular season viewership was down like a fractional percentage, this year. It's still far and away the most popular thing that you can watch out there. And Pro Football Talk, and I get it, how you feel about Florio, whatever. All right. But just in terms of reporting numbers, he's like, there was obviously an uptick Amazon had huge numbers because they'd never had it before. But I think Fox was down this year. CBS did not report their numbers, which because they don't have to.
Yeah, they don't
right?
have to.
But when you don't report your numbers, the insinuation is you're not happy about where the numbers went this year. So, I don't know. NFL's still a juggernaut, man. For all the people that said they're quitting and not watching, I'm sure some did, but I don't think they miss you a whole lot, quite frankly. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, what could possibly dent the NFL to a significant degree at
There
this
was,
point?
I saw 90 of the top 100 TV shows were the NFL games, and the other, 8 were, politics because of the election this year.
Yeah, sure. That makes
and then
sense.
the other 2 were, college football games.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's moving the needle.
Right. So 90 compared to the top 2 college football games made the list compared to 90 NFL games. And if you want to wonder which league or sport or whatever is king, there's no wondering. The NFL is the juggernaut that pretty much slays everything that goes in its path up to this point. All right. We'll take a time out here. Tony will take us around the rest of that juggernaut National Football League when we return. The question of the day today: which one of these would you want the Jags to prioritize the most? Not saying you can't be multiple of these things, but what is the most important quality for the next head coach they hire? Is it offensive prowess, defensive prowess, or is it being in that leader of men type category? The kind of guy that, you know what, I'll hire a good staff. I'm going to be the tone setter. Not saying you can't be more than one of these things, but what is the top item on your list that you're seeking in the next Jaguars head coach? We'll continue to discuss that. Take more of your calls as well at 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Cooling down outside. Well, it's already cooled down outside. Going to be in the 40s today, and that is it. Beautiful weather, but you know what? Sometimes you need a little warming up, and Dandy has your back. A Jacksonville company that is available all over the First Coast and area gate stations. Head right to the Fresh Case and check out some of the warmer options that they've got, like a hot roast beef and provolone, the Italian combo that'll absolutely melt in your mouth, the all-white meat spicy buffalo chicken. But if that's a little too hot for you, nothing beats the big old juicy classic 100% beef cheeseburger. All these options served on fresh ciabatta bread, which is baked locally, delivered daily, as you'd expect from the folks that bring you fresh and never frozen goodness all around Jacksonville. They've been doing it for nearly 70 years. Hey, look, I'll get that tuna salad every single day of the week and be happy, but you can try a different Dandy variety every day for a month and not run out. When you're hungry in Duval, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy. Do it today.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. At the end of the day, matriculate your way home with the Frangie Show.
What does that mean? It means buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy.
This isn't Kansas.
The great Oz has spoken.
Afternoons on 1010XL.
Start the new year with a fresh look for your home. It's the Renewal by Anderson New Year's sales event. For a limited time, save 20% off on our energy-efficient windows and patio doors designed to keep your home comfortable year-round and your energy bills down. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation. But hurry, the special New Year's offer won't last. License number CGC 1527613.
Hey, Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Guess what? We love rugs. We'll treat your fine Oriental rugs with tender, loving care they deserve. How about Gerard, the Zero Res rug cleaning manager, one of the few certified master rug cleaners in the state of Florida? If you want your rugs cleaned with tender, loving care, call Zero Res. Right now, have one rug washed and we'll wash a second rug free. That's right. Buy one, the second one on me. Zero Res. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
We don't have too many cold nights on the First Coast, but when the temperature drops, you want to hit the heat button and warm up. That's where Florida Home comes in. They're the AC experts in Jacksonville, and the importance of keeping your heating system in good working order is really important. If it stops working when it gets cooler, Florida Home will leap into action and provide you with the best solution. Heater and heat pump repair service and new system installation. They do it all. Just call Florida Home AC at 777-4300, the official heating and AC partner of the Jaguars.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projectsroofingfl.com.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser start the week by giving the ball to the best back in Duval.
And off, Fred Taylor.
Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein & Robbins DUI Defense Firm and Monahan Jewelers on 1010XL. Jaguars Today Thursday is hitched to Cannons of Jacksonville for all your towing needs.
New year, new club. This is Joe C., and I'm proud to be a member of Southampton. And with the popularity of golf, getting a tee time is tough. But with membership comes member privileges. Enjoy clubhouse dining, expanded practice area, focusing on all parts of your game. And right now, you can join with an annual commitment and get a $1,000 discount, plus $500 of Pro Shop credit. All the details are online at golfsouthampton.com or call 287-PLAY and make a tee time today at the Golf Club of Southampton.
When looking for a firearm, you want knowledge of product, a fair price, and of course, a quick process. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach is always stocked with brand new firearms and the quickest in and out times this side of the ditch. BeachesJewelryandPawn.com.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
The Jacksonville Icemen are back home this Friday and Saturday for Lizard Kings weekend. The Icemen throw it back to the 90s and pay tribute to the Lizard Kings by wearing special themed jerseys and a Lizard King bobblehead giveaway for the first 1,000 fans for Saturday's game. So relive your days from the Reptilian Pavilion Friday and Saturday at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Game time 7 o'clock. Tickets at Ticketmaster, JacksIceman.com or call 904-602-POP. Iceman Hockey is #Frozen Frenzy.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Work it, make it, do it. Makes us all better, faster, stronger.
Now more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, here's the Commissioner Duval saying, no, Eric Bieniemy and now Ben Johnson are the only coaches I can think of that rarely become the hottest coaching candidates during a multi-season search. I don't see Ben going into a second season passing on a head coaching gig with the momentum he has on his side. You may be right. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying I think he is in a much better position to do that. I don't think Eric Bieniemy was ever offered an NFL job. Like Ben Johnson could have had the Washington job last year.
Well, and Ben doesn't have a head coach that is looming over him as the play caller or offensive coordinator, which is the Andy Reid situation. And it was always a mark against Eric Bieniemy when that whole process started, right? It was just like, is he kind of who's in charge in Kansas City? Was at least a question. That's not a question in Detroit right now. Ben's the guy.
And Bieniemy had some off the field issues in college that I've heard get brought up.
How good or bad is he in the interview room? I don't know.
Right. Well, and that's part of the good or bad. I've been told, I don't know if this is true, but I've been told, again, people that I trust that are not the kind of people that make this kind of thing up, that Eric Bieniemy has never had a good answer for some of the stuff that's gone down. So I just think they're two different people. Sure. I don't think Eric Bieniemy was more of a guy that I think we wondered, why isn't he more of a front runner for jobs as he's running this great offense? And I think Ben Johnson is a front runner, based on, I think if Chicago had their druthers, they'd hire Ben Johnson. I think Jacksonville very likely would hire Ben Johnson. I don't know if Ben Johnson is going to take either one of those jobs in the present circumstance with a holdover general manager or not. I don't think Eric Bieniemy ever rose to that level. He was getting interviews, but he wasn't getting offers, and I think that's the difference between them. So.
And it does feel like Ben Johnson's at that point that, these guys, these young guys that are kind of the young guns, when they hit a point where they have been in charge of an offense for usually it's around 3 years, is around that magic number. They do it for 3 years, and then everyone in the league's like, that's the guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the one that we're all going to go after this time. Ben's that guy in this cycle. He was kind of on the edge of that last year. Washington was the only team that was really going hard after Ben Johnson, and he said, no, it's not quite what I want it to be. I'm going to go back and be the OC for Detroit for this next year, and they're at where they're at with Ben doing it. But this is 3 years now he's been the OC. They're in Detroit, and they are ultra successful. It feels like he's got more options because he might be willing to go back to a really good Detroit offense for another year. He can at least fall back on that if he wants to, but I don't expect that to be the way this plays out. I think he's going to take a job in this cycle.
I do too.
Yeah.
But
I think he's got more to fall back on than most guys in that situation usually do, but I think at some point you got to jump.
All right, Spencer in Mandarin is up next on Jaguars Today. Go ahead, Spencer.
Hey, guys, I appreciate you serving as somewhat of a couch for a lot of us as fans. And, one thing, we don't know what coach we're going to get and what kind of coach it's going to be, but I keep hearing a lot of people talking about they want more of a fiery coach and stuff. And by the way, to the previous caller, it's lackadaisical, not lackadaisical. But, players, I would like to ask these people, how do you respond at work when someone yells at you, like your superior or your team leader? Probably not great, right? But you know what you respond to in a team leader? Just confidence. The word is confidence. A player, especially today's players, used to be you could tell them to jump and they'll say how high. Now you tell them to jump, they're going to say why, and you better be able to tell them. And so basically in today's environment with today's player being empowered, not saying it's good or bad. It's just the way it is.
All right, Spencer, you're breaking up there. I get to it's a different world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when maybe it's always been this way that the top players made more than the top coaches, but it's so stark now when you're Dak Prescott, is he worth $60 million? Is Trevor worth $275 million over 5 years? Not based on what he's shown. That's based on the promise of what he's going to do in the future.
Yeah.
No coach is playing in those, areas. And with the salary cap and the way contracts are structured, you can't just move on from players as easily as you could in the past. So players do have more clout than ever before.
Yeah, and the only thing I could find of what GMs make is they generally make $1 to $3 million a year. That's what I could basically find on GMs, but not specific numbers for a bunch of guys across the league.
Quite honestly, it should be more than that, I think. That's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
You're building you've got all these assets at your disposal. You're being asked to there are a lot of hats you got to wear as a GM. I'm not making excuses for Trent Baalke, by the way. There are plenty of probably qualified people that would jump at the chance to show you how much better they could be at the job, and probably would be in many cases. This from Demetrius Harvey on the X platform. Trevor Lawrence speaking right now as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
And he said Trevor Lawrence was asked what he wants in a coach. Kind of aligns with today's question of the day.
Yeah.
Says he's obviously biased, but it would be great to have a young, offensive-minded coach. That's the first thing that came up. Then he added he wants a leader, someone to set the culture for them to be a tough team. Okay, but
it's both.
It's both, but in listing the priorities, the first thing he went to was a young, offensive-minded coach. That, to me, look, that's your investment. And I know you invested in Josh Hines-Allen and Tyson Campbell, but the quarterback position is so important. That's why I think most people have gravitated to the offensive side here. Tell me who Aaron Glenn is bringing as his offensive guy. Who are going to be the hands-on people working with Trevor Lawrence? And maybe we'd elevate Aaron Glenn to the top of the list, right? And I'm not saying Aaron Glenn could not be a head coach for a team that has a wonderfully developed young quarterback. But you feel like, man, look what Ben Johnson has helped turn Jared Goff into. Jared Goff was like getting to be close to cast-off status, right? He was good, but he was never going to be championship good. And now look at the guy, right? And I think Ben Johnson is given a lot of credit for what he has brought to that offense. And granted, he's got great players around him. We can continue to accumulate better talent, let's hope, going forward. But anyway, that'll be interesting to see what the final results of today's poll turn out to be.
Well, the hope is that Trevor Lawrence is going to take another step forward in his career, regardless of who the head coach and offensive coordinator are. But you want to find guys that are going to help him in that process, right? Sean McDermott up there in Buffalo is a defensive guy. There's not a whole lot of those guys left in the NFL, but he's a defensive guy, and they have to change offensive coordinator every year, right? They bring somebody else in, and whoever Josh is being asked to work with, he excels, right? Like, they find a way to make it work.
But they change them because they run into struggles.
They do. But it's one of those things where Josh Allen is good enough that doesn't matter. Right? Give me a guy. I can work with whoever you put in the building with me. He's going to take advantage of what I can do. We can go, right? Like the idea would be Trevor needs to take a step towards that kind of thing because I think he has the physical talent to do that for this football team and franchise. It just hasn't shown up consistently on the field yet, but I think he is the type of player that at some point in the very near future, you feel like you could depend on more of those things. But short term, if you want to bring in somebody that's more supportive of that side of the ball, I'm fine with that, right? And if you find the guy that's more the defensive-minded guy that finds short-term guys that you're going to have to kind of cycle through at the OC to help support that process with Trevor Lawrence, I'm okay with that too. The point being, there's more than one path to finding that kind of success with an NFL team. I'm okay with people leaning more towards the offensive side because of the investment that they've already made in Trevor Lawrence. It makes sense.
All right, let's pause that thought and go around the NFL. Dylan.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Green Bay quarterback Jordan Love was limited in practice yesterday because of an elbow injury. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur said that they are hopeful that he will be able to play this week in their wild card game. Philadelphia quarterback Jalen Hurts was expected to participate in practice for the first time yesterday since he suffered a concussion during the Eagles' Week 17 game. Buffalo wide receiver Amari Cooper returned to the team on Wednesday, was a full participant in practice after missing their Week 18 game due to a personal reason and had not reported back at the early part of the week. He was a full participant, though, in practice yesterday. There for the Bills, Tom Pelissero wrote on Wednesday about Tom Brady reaching out to Bill Belichick about the potential of Belichick coming back to the NFL and coaching the Las Vegas Raiders. Pelissero said at least one other team has reached out to Belichick in that same regard. The NFL has said in a statement that they are monitoring the potential impact of the wildfires going on in California on the playoff game that the Rams are currently set to host on Monday night to wrap up the wild card weekend. Just an absolutely devastating story out there.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, almost, every year it seems to get worse.
Those overhead shots of that neighborhood that's just burnt to the ground.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Man. So obviously, if you've got family or friends out there, we're thinking about them, and not that solves their problems right now. A couple quickly in reaction to the last caller about the kind of coaches and what those leader of men types and how players respond to them nowadays. Tell that guy that fiery doesn't necessarily equal being a, let's say, jerk is the word I'll substitute. We just want passion. And then the next one, your current caller must have never been in the military. Well, here's the thing. It's not the military.
No.
Right? These guys are in the military. Yes, you answer to the chain of command because the end result is people can die. Right? And this is not the military. This is just a business, a different kind of business in many ways. And when you have leverage, even over your boss, people exercise that leverage to make the comparison to the military. It's not that. You can't just order them to do anything you want.
The NFL kind of used to work that way, though, right? Like the Belichicks and the Tom Coughlins, they're not leading a military unit, but they ran it in a similar way.
Right. And what happened, though, with Tom Coughlin?
Eventually, it rubs people the wrong way.
It rubbed them the wrong way here, rubbed them the wrong way in New York, to the point where if he didn't change his ways, would not have stuck around to win those Super Bowls.
Michael Strahan was ready to retire
Yeah.
The year they won that Super Bowl. Like, he was sick enough with the Coughlin thing that he was ready to walk away from football at that point, but they got back on the same page enough that he came back, had a really good year. They won the Super Bowl that year up there in New York. I think it's not all one thing or another. I think it's way more difficult in today's NFL to have that style of leadership, right? It's not impossible. You need your coach to be tough-minded enough that when he needs to put his foot down, he puts his foot down, right? Like, he has to have that ability and to get that communicated to the players in a way that it makes sense. Like, just be able to explain why you're asking them to do whatever you're asking them to do. It's not that difficult.
All right, let's come back and look at today's question of the day. We'll wrap things up. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Lickety Split. If you have trouble with your home's AC, your plumbing, your electrical, you need help now. You need it right now, like Lickety Split. Call Lickety Split. Get same-day emergency service for all of those issues that may be going on with your home. Locally, family-owned and operated with a huge fleet of techs and trucks. That means they can be out and fixing your problem as quickly as possible. I don't know, maybe Lickety Split. 4.8 average on Google reviews. Check them out online at licketysplitfl.com.
Jaguars Today. For the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL.
North Florida is growing with lots of new families joining our community. If you're one of them making the move here, your next move should be a call to American Electrical to create the best home automation system, enhancing your living experience. There are many ways your life can be made easier through smart home technology, voice-activated systems, automated lighting, total house temperature control. With American Electrical, they've got everything you need to automate your home and make it your true oasis. Check out American-Electrical.com, powered by professionalism and raising the excellence bar.
The best golfing weather is upon us, and Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to enjoy your next round of golf with us. Our welcoming atmosphere and love for golf keep our friends coming back. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, it's kind of cooling down right now. I love opening my windows up this time of year. If you're looking to upgrade your windows in your home, I want you to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Ask about their latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows and doors, rated #1 by Consumer Reports in all 3 main window categories. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. That's Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
Jaguars Today, Thursday, is towed by Cannons of Jacksonville.
Hey, Hicken here for Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code JAX, J-A-X, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code JAX to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, man. Run your game.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
It's kind of like his own private locker, and you're his guest.
Every time we talk, I'm reinvigorated by my love of the game.
Hayes Carline here. Find my blog at 1010XL.com.
Hayes Blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island is excited to announce an all-new happy hour, 7 days a week. You heard right. Every day from 3 until 6 p.m. and again from 9 until close. Barley and Pie has deals you can't resist. 2-for-1 clay lights, 2-for-1 house wines, and much more. Experience the all-new happy hour at Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island.
Attention men and women. If you'd like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me.
thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS. Thank you, IHRS. Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Hairforme.com.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but also incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744. Hey, and if you mention Mia or Helmets and Heels, you'll qualify for free base molding. Call today or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Kenny Thompson here for Tyson Sound and Security. Transform your home into the ultimate entertainment hub. Whether you're hosting the big game inside or out on the patio, Tyson's top-tier surround sound systems will make you feel like you're at the stadium. Enjoy crystal clear sound and breathtaking visuals, all seamlessly installed by Tyson's experts. Get ready for game day and every day after. Visit our new showroom on US 17. Call 762-1000 or go to TysonSoundSecurity.com. Tyson, your home theater and security pros.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Former Jag Bucky Brooks weighed in on how General Manager Trent Baalke remained with the team.
Because the first-round picks and even the second-round picks had played at a level that was, we could call winning football, and some had played at almost like a star level, it wasn't unanimous or a consensus decision that you have to remove the general manager as well.
Jag veteran wideout Christian Kirk remarked on if he would like to remain with the Jaguars.
Yeah, I would love to be here. I'm under contract still. Obviously, there's other things that I can't really control.
The Jacksonville Jaguars signed 7 players to reserve or future contracts for the 2025 season. Signing a player to this type of deal prevents them from negotiating with other teams. That's your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguar update. I'm Sam Nelson.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Dylan Denmark from the desk of Dylan Denmark, Esquire. Who's reporting that the is this a Jags?
Yes.
Announcement. Okay.
Yeah, Jaguars Twitter just put out, we have requested an interview with Steve Spagnuolo for our head coaching vacancy.
And it's funny because I've been trying to get to this one text this morning on the text line. Somebody asked, what about Steve Spagnuolo? And I'm like, what about Steve Spagnuolo, right? I mean, Kansas City's defense has been ridiculous this year. And if you're going to go the defensive route, or at least you're open to going the defensive route, why not take a guy who not only is doing a great job in that department, or at least consider him, but also would weaken the best team in your conference by taking him away?
He was the head coach with St. Louis
Horrific
from 2009 to 2011, and
it wasn't
good. 10-38 in those 3 years. He was the interim coach with the Giants for a couple of games there in 2017, but it's been 13 years, really, since he's been a head coach in the league. So maybe that second try is at least worth kicking the tires.
Right. I mean, Belichick was no great prize when he was with Cleveland. They made the playoffs once. Spagnuolo was bad, though, bro. I mean, horrible bad. 1-15.
Yeah.
7-9.
Yeah.
2-14.
Like, I'm surprised.
3 straight years.
Like, I'm not surprised his name is involved, and I'm fine with his name being involved in the process. It's not an interesting enough name that it would be above the other names we talked about yesterday.
No, but it makes sense that he should get consideration, right? If you're going to consider Aaron Glenn, other than age, if you look at the current job he's doing, but boy, sell that to this fan base. Look, I get it. He's 65 years old, but here's a head coach whose record, including as an interim, is 11-41. That would be a
Pretty
tough
bad.
one there on the old sales front. All right, let's take a look. Let's see. Trevor Lawrence says he is in a sling for another 3 weeks. Started rehab on his shoulder. Expects to be good to go for the season. Hoping to be ready for OTAs. Does not have an exact timeline. That from Mia O'Brien yesterday. Also from Mia, Trevor admits he was out of it after the hit from Azeez Al-Shaair. That's the first time he's spoken since that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't want to comment too much on the situation and confirms Al-Shaair has not reached out to him. So not super surprised at that.
No.
Let's see. Was the Jags offense predictable? Question. It's a good one. Mia O'Brien, again, passed. I don't know who's asking all these, but she's passing along some of the answers on social media. Trevor's answer, at times. I think you can say that about other offenses as well. We weren't able to run the ball consistently effectively the last few years, and it's hard to get everything else going when that's struggling. So can I get the best young offensive mind who can bring some maulers up front along with him, Tony? That might be the package. Or can I get a leader of men who's got a couple of all-pro offensive linemen in his back pocket?
Sure.
That would work as well.
Work. Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. All right. Today, I'm in the offensive prowess category on this poll, right? We're asking you today what's in it. Again, can be more than one of these things. You can have offensive prowess and also be a leader of men, right?
Yeah.
No question about it. I bet Dan Campbell's got some offensive prowess, right? He did call plays for him for a while. He does come from the offensive side of the ball, but he's more known as the leader of men type, as the kind of the tone setter there in Detroit. And he's got this a couple of great coordinators that he's probably helped develop along the way. Give him some of that credit. But this is coming down to a two-horse race in the poll today. We're going to make it a two-option poll, but we figured why not throw defensive prowess in there? What is the most important trait for the Jaguars to prioritize in their next head coaching hire? Is it offensive prowess, defensive prowess, leader of men? I'll go with offensive prowess. Where are you going?
I agree with you. I think it is all of the above to some degree, right? But you're going to hire a guy. I don't see a whole lot of special teams coordinators that are in the mix currently for the Jags. Not that there's anything wrong with that. John Harbaugh's been fantastic right up there in Baltimore, and he was the special teams coordinator when he got that job. So you can find him where you find him, and I do think that's more the leader of men quality is why John's been as successful as long as he's been up there in Baltimore. It's not because he can really coach them up on punt coverage. Like, that's not the reason he's been as successful as a head coach as he's been. I lean towards the leader of men category in this, and it's because I can't get over how much I feel that was lacking with this team. And it's more I think Doug he allows the players to be whoever they are. Their personality is their personality, and that's fine. He's the guy who's telling them, work, work, work. Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. Eventually, it'll break for us. It'll break for us. It'll break for us. And in 2022, that's what they needed. And for the last year and a half, they needed somebody that was going to throw a chair, right? Like, that's what they needed in the room at some point in that position, was somebody that was going to bust them up because they weren't doing what they needed to do to take whatever that next step was to get over all the problems they had closing out these football games, going into the next week and saying, we'll get it, guys. Just keep working. Trust the process. We'll get there. That's been my feel for what they've been doing for the last year and a half. I am very much on the leader of men, but if it's going to be an offensive or defensive guy, yeah, I'd rather have an offensive guy than a defensive guy as my preference, but I do want the guy who's going to shake them up.
Dylan, what are you voting for?
Offense paralysis. If you know how to get the most out of your offense, then you know how to get the most out of all your guys, and I think that spreads from there. I mean, I think we're saying a lot of this because we think Doug was, a pretty, just chill dude, and whatever you didn't work with one guy, you usually go to the far pendulum to the other side, and I don't. Yes, it is an important quality, but I think we're going a little too far with it. I'd much rather have a good offense that's not predictable, that can run the ball and, have weapons around Trevor.
And again, look, that, quote, leader of men category, Aaron Glenn may be that guy. bring in a great offensive mind that can develop Trevor. You can have more than one thing, right? We fully acknowledge that. We're just asking you, what is your top item on your agenda here? Right now, leader, 400 votes, basically. Leader of men getting 49.5%. Offensive prowess getting 47.5%, and 3% going with defensive prowess. And I get it, too.
Yeah.
Like, I do think you fix the quarterback, you fix a lot of things, right? But this defense needs a lot of fixing now.
And it does almost match perfectly in my head what it would be. Like, if it was just the binary, I'd be like 52-48 leader of men. Right? Like, it's that close in my head between those two things. It's not like I'm way leaning one way or the other.
I think if you fix this defense, so like Shad Khan said, middle of the pack, right, then, we're winning 4 or 5 more games, whatever. Maybe you are a playoff contender. I don't think you're a championship contender if you're not maximizing your quarterback, generally, right, with rare exceptions. And so that, to me, ultimately, that's the goal. Like you said, Tony, what's the goal? Win a Super Bowl. Let's talk about that, right? There's steps along the way, but that's the ultimate goal. Win one in Trevor Lawrence's tenure here. That's why you paid him that kind of money. And I think the greatest likelihood, it's tougher to come up with 11 guys and the depth necessary to put together kind of a defense that can carry you to a championship in today's NFL. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's drastically more difficult if you don't have a quarterback who, at least for a period of a month, is capable of playing at an elite level against the best in the National Football League. We know Patrick Mahomes is that, and he's not the only reason that they've won the last couple of championships, but he is the major reason.
And they've had to rely heavy on that defense this year, obviously, with all the things that have been switching over on the offensive side of the ball. But if they're going to win big in the playoffs, it's going to be because Patrick Mahomes does the Mahomes thing.
I feel like Lauren Brooks just came in with, like, 2025's hottest new runway looks or something like that. Like, seriously, I feel like you're on the cutting edge of fashion today. I'll just put it like that. But that's more of a fall color, I feel, Tony. So it's not like ready for the spring. This is maybe from the 2024 line. Still, nevertheless, LB joining us now.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
I'm on the cutting edge of ball caps and
I did go down to the Trevor presser, so that's, I felt like I had to dress up a little bit, but you are correct. This is from the 2024 line of Christmas Eve church service.
Okay, well, there you go.
So, yes, you nailed it.
Right, and maybe you were auditioning to be, I don't know what it pays, but I bet Trevor and Marissa's nanny was going to make a pretty penny, right?
I was a nanny after I graduated from college. The news that Doug was fired and things like that. So I guess Shad didn't tell him in advance that was going to happen. And I guess I find that interesting. If you have a really good relationship, then you'd think that you would be in the know before the news just gets broken.
Yeah, well, but I guess I'll just play devil's advocate here. All right, you're the owner, and you've gotten your input from Trevor Lawrence and whatever it is, like, hey, I think I can win with Doug and whatever. But you decide this is the direction we're going to go, and you tell Trevor Lawrence, and he goes, "Oh, that's a bad decision," right? Like, I don't know if there's any positive that you can get out of that.
I mean, I'm sure Shad knows kind of how Trevor feels because they do have those conversations fairly often. And so my guess is that, and Trevor said he has a great relationship with Trent. My guess is that's true, but Trevor also had a great relationship with Doug. And so Shad did feel like he's just going to have to make the cutthroat decision because Trevor's so nice that he's not going to say anything negative.
He's not going to fire anybody, right? And it's funny because, Lauren, people, when Josh Hines-Allen, we found out he wasn't going to play, there were some, he's found out that Balky's coming back, and this is his way of protesting. Why would Josh Hines-Allen be upset with Trent Baalke?
He wouldn't.
Who said, here, take all my money, or all of Shad's money.
Some of Shad's money, not
lot
all
of it. And he probably gets a Christmas card, one of the first ones written every year for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I also think a lot of us spend way more time thinking about all this stuff than the players do. The players worry about the playbook. They worry about wins and losses. They worry about having each other's backs. And that's the end. Like,
You're
they don't
right.
care about the front
They care
office.
about the coach.
And their contract. They do care about that.
They're right.
And they care about the coach.
Once they're paid,
right.
I don't think, with rare exception, I'm sure there's exceptions to every rule. I don't think players are sitting around. I asked David Garrard that the other day. He goes, man, are you kidding me? I never spoke to the GM.
Why would you need to?
Well,
as long as your money.
About the GM, never spoke to the GM, didn't care who the GM was.
Yeah, but I did find it interesting. Trevor also said he's biased, of course, because he's a quarterback, but he would love a young offensive mind that they could grow together.
Hey.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes.
Scream it from the mountaintop, Trevor.
Right. Dylan, you coach offense?
No, but I can learn.
All right.
But you are young.
He is young. He is a coach. He's
How
willing
young
to
are
learn.
we talking?
He's willing to learn. Next up on the staff of Ben Johnson, here comes Dylan Denmark. What's coming up today?
We will continue to talk about Trevor Lawrence. We will talk about the Jaguars coaching search, and we have a couple fun guests as well coming up. So we got a lot to do.
All right. If you haven't voted in today's poll, go to @MD_1010XL and let us know, do you prefer the offensive-minded guy, the defensive-minded guy, or the, quote, leader of men category? Coach Lauren Brooks and Helmets and Heels coming up for the next couple hours. Lauren, have a great show.
Thank you so much. I'll be strutting down the hallway as my runway.
And at noon or at 2 o'clock on a plane to Paris. So there goes LB. For Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, and, of course, Mike DeRocco, who was out for the time being, right? His service has wrapped up. We appreciate you all listening. Tom McManus in studio with us tomorrow. This has been Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From the